Domestic violence and sexual assault is a crime of brutality. And we as a community have to come together to fight this fight. We need to be united as one to ensure the safety of survivors, justice, and accountability.
Raychel Sheridan was tragically killed at the hands of her abusive boyfriend. But unfortunately, her story is just one of many, as we have had a severe uptick in domestic violence homicides in Stark County. In 2024, the Ohio Domestic Violence Network reported that Stark County had 13 domestic violence-related deaths, which is an increase of 550%. And it's not just the domestic violence-related deaths, but domestic violence incidents as a whole in Stark County. We have seen a vast increase across the county. The current response to domestic violence in Stark County is not working.
She lit up the room. It didn't matter where we went. She was excited and happy a lot. She loved flowers. She liked hiking and, just going for walks. Smile. Every picture I have of her, she's smiling.
We know that victims receive countless referrals, make countless calls for help, and have to tell their story way too many times. And it's difficult to access the services that we have in Stark County. We need to do better for survivors.
We tried a lot to tell her it wasn't right. But she kept going back, thinking that he loved her. We tried. I mean, it's hard because I've had many talks with her, and she didn't get it. Too many things happened. Too many red flags. And I knew it. Her daddy knew it. Her Aunt Sue knew it. We all knew it. But she was in love. And it's hard for me to think about because I tried to tell her. I mean, I had my own experience, domestic violence, with her biological father. I ended up at the Domestic Violence Project for help, and I don't know if she wasn't even, she was an infant at that time, but I know the circle of violence, I know all of that, and I tried, and that's what hurts. That's what hurts, because there's always somebody there to help you. She didn't get it.
When everything is turned upside down and all of a sudden you have to rebuild your life, and there's people calling you, asking you different questions, interacting with attorneys, and interacting with the court system, being in big buildings that all of a sudden may feel just unfamiliar to you, interacting with our social service agencies that are here to help, But when you have to make so many phone calls and all of a sudden you get a block or a no, or maybe I can't help you, it becomes so overwhelming. And I think that's the biggest barrier that our survivors face in our community today.
He took off and he was gone. And she came back to live with me for a couple weeks. And she had to go back because her name was on the lease. He was on the lease, so he had rights to get into the apartment. It kind of multiplied as it went along. Things were happening with her, and I tried to explain to her, this isn't right. He's gone for 2 weeks, but he's calling her and wanting to know what she's doing, where she's at. He controlled her. He isolated her from the people that loved her.
In 2022, Alliance for Hope International came to Stark County to deliver a 2-day training on strangulation, and the concept of a family justice center was introduced. Immediately, we, as the Domestic Violence Collaborative, fell in love with this concept because there's data and research that shows how effective a family justice center can be. We have conducted meetings, we have done research, we have collected data, and we know that a family justice center is the answer to addressing many of the barriers that survivors currently face in our county.
Domestic violence has a huge impact on the community. Directly, it affects those in the situation, both the victim in the home, those living in the home, those in the life of the victim. It has an effect that just spreads out and touches everybody. In the community, domestic violence can happen anywhere. It is not contained to one location. Domestic violence does not just happen in the home. It can happen in a car, it can happen in a parking lot, it can happen in a business. There's no borders to where it goes.
The day that we found out all this happened, I called her job because she hadn't texted me or called me, and something wasn't right. We went immediately to her apartment. We don't know exactly what happened, but he beat her head in. He beat her head in. He took away a beautiful young lady that had so much offer. If somebody else would have been there to help her and tell her, I think maybe she'd still be here.
Stark County is lucky to have a lot of resources available to domestic violence victims. That is also a burden to victims. When victims report a domestic violence incident, they receive a large number of referrals and resource information. They're handed large stacks of paperwork and brochures, not only from officers, but potentially from nurses, advocates, caseworkers. That can be overwhelming. So while those resources are extremely important to a victim in this situation, it is a lot for them to navigate and figure out what is best for them and what is needed. A lot of victims of domestic violence think that their situation is okay, that it's bearable and it's manageable, and there's no reason for that. The situation that they're in is not their fault. and they're not alone. There are hundreds of people in Stark County alone that are going through a similar situation. So they need to understand that it's not their fault. There is not only hope and help available, but people and resources that want to help them.
Emergency shelter is not enough in our community. We are a place that people can seek refuge and have a safe place to stay. We provide legal advocacy and some wraparound services, but we need our entire community to come together and serve survivors in each of their own capacities, and bringing that all under one roof and allowing it to be a place where people a survivor can walk into one place and receive all the services that they need, and us to just break down all of those barriers for survivors, I think is one of the most critical pieces that we can do in our community.
You need somewhere to go that you know that the people are going to understand and know what you're going through.
Family Justice Center model is well researched and documented, and that research shows that it is best practice in handling domestic violence and sexual assault cases. Research has shown that it reduces the number of homicides, increases victim safety, reduces recantation and minimization of victims, increases efficiency and collaboration of services, and increases prosecution rates and the accountability of offenders. We are not looking to duplicate services, but instead centralize and co-locate existing services under one roof. This effort, which will be informed by survivors, will help to reduce barriers and increase accessibility for survivors in our community. Essentially, a Family Justice Center will do the work that survivors are currently doing in our county. At the Willow Kaye Justice Center, survivors will enter a space where they are believed, respected, and met with compassion.
It is important that all of these things are part of our plan and our effort at the Willow Kaye Justice Center in Stark County to make sure that survivors not only survive, but they thrive. Community collaboration is extremely important for these efforts. We have to be united, community partner one by one. We have to take the burden off of survivors and assist them navigate through this system so that once again, they can thrive. And finally, as your county prosecutor, I want to see more successful prosecutions take place against those who have perpetrated against domestic violence and sexual assault. The Willow Kaye Justice Center envisions a vibrant community free from coercion and fear, where violence is eliminated and hope is restored. We will not achieve this vision. We cannot achieve this vision unless we're all in it together.
I'm Mayor Bill Scheer, and I'm in.
We're in.
I'm in.
We're in. I'm in. We're in.
I'm in.
We're in. I'm in. We're in.
I'm in.
We're in.
My hope is that the resources are there for the younger people that don't understand, that don't know what needs to be done. I'm in. I'm definitely in.